Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. So this is the introduction for the Malaysian Blueprint 2013 to 2025, because for everything there's always something that caused the creation of it, the purpose of it being created, and what it actually means. So what we have to understand about the Malaysian Blueprint 2013 to 2025 is that it was launched by our Deputy of Prime Minister, who simultaneously happened to be the Minister of Education at that time, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, in 2013. So it was launched at Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre, and the purpose of it is because the government has actually reviewed the syllabus, all the subjects and all the core subjects that needed to be learned by the students of Malaysia. So once they have conducted the review, they have came up with this one new education system, which is the Malaysian Education Blueprint, because they are actually determined to create a generation of students that will be able to be more competitive and efficient with high competency. Because once this has been achieved, we can actually compete at a global level, especially in the aspect of education. It plays a pivotal role in actually creating a society with high thinking skill, critical thinking level, and could think creatively. So moving on to the concept of the Malaysian Education Blueprint 2013 to 2025. So the concept of it is that for every country, the government needs to prioritize the continuously development of the education system. This plan focuses on the increasing of development and the continuous improvement that needs to be done to the education system. So the development, it focuses on how a certain subject, when it is found to be very outdated, needs to continuously keep up with the time. Education system need to be improved continuously, because once the improvement stops at a certain point, then how are we going to achieve or maximize the capability of the students? So that is why this educational blueprint is important, and the concept is the foundation, the base of the excellence of qualities that we can find in this education blueprint. Now we actually have to get to know the objectives. The objectives are more like the things that guide this implementation to actually achieve what it was initially created for. It focuses on providing a sustainable preparation for the students so that they'll be able to face the challenges that might arise in the 21st century. And it is also something that needs to be conducted by the government. So anyway, I wouldn't say it is long overdue. It's more like it happened at the right time. So all of these objectives need to be achieved in the span of 13 years. And if, let's say, there are some objectives that will not be able to be achieved, then it's okay, because it will be implemented in the next education system that will be reviewed again by the government once this one has ended. This is to ensure that our education system is always up to date, so that no matter what happened, we're never left behind. Our country will never be outdated in terms of education. The first objective is to understand the challenges that are faced by the education system. We're trying to promote a more friendly environment for the students, an environment that promotes unity among them, because Malaysia, we have many different races, people from other backgrounds, people from different cultures, all of those things. So we have to take into account of those factors and make sure that we'll be able to create an environment, a learning environment that caters to suit people from a lot of multiple different backgrounds. So this is one of the objectives of the Malaysian Education Blueprint 2013 to 2025. Besides that, it also promotes equity. So what do I mean by equity? Equity is to actually achieve fairness in terms of each and every student will receive the same thing as the others. So there are nothing that differentiate them, that makes them stand at a different level. Besides that, the second objective of the Malaysian Education Blueprint 2013 to 2025 is to create a clear vision and aspiration for the students in the span of 13 years. So what do I mean by this? When the education blueprint of Malaysia was introduced, it has this one objective, which is to make sure that it can become a guide for all of the teachers and for the students, so that they can actually achieve the maximum capability in themselves. Can be used as a bucket list for them to actually know the path that they have to go, where this education system is leading them to. And the third objective is to outline a comprehensive transformation in terms of educational system of the Malaysia. So what do I mean by outlining the comprehensive transformation? So like I said, once the government has reviewed the whole education system, they have came up with this one new education system that have been transformed, improved in so many ways. If there were to be a transformation that's a very not prominent, that's very not obvious, then where can we see the improvements?
Thank you, Danya. Now I will explain about the 5 aspirations of national education system. The first point is access to success. The main goal of the system focuses on achieving success by ensuring equal access. So this goal aims to ensure that every child in Malaysia, regardless of their socio-economic background or ethnicity, has equal opportunities to access quality education that helps them to reach their full potential. Example that we can see is providing equal opportunity for all students to access quality education regardless of their socio-economic background or geographical location. This could involve implementing measures to address disparities in educational resources and infrastructure between urban and rural areas. Next point is international standard quality. The Malaysian education system needs substantial enhancements, particularly in mathematics, science, English, and critical thinking abilities. So, to measure progress, international assessments such as PISA, which is programs for international student assessment, and TIMSS, which is trends in international mathematics and science study, are utilized for global comparisons. Ongoing efforts to improve education quality, Malaysia aims to achieve a ranking in the upper third percentile globally on this assessment. For example, that we can consider is schools and governments can implement internationally recognized best practices in curriculum development to ensure that students receive a well-rounded education that nurtures their intellectual, spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being. The third point is equity for all students. Equity for all students means providing high-quality learning opportunities regardless of their economic background, gender, or geographic location. So, other than that, the educational system could offer additional and extra support to students that are facing challenges and ensure that their backgrounds do not hinder their prospect to success. The next one is emphasize unity among students. Malaysia's education system aims to foster unity among students, leveraging the diverse school environment to promote mutual understanding and cooperation. By encouraging interaction and cultural exchanges, schools play a crucial role in shaping national unity and identity. For instance, we can see that school cultural exchange programs, which schools organize cultural exchange programs where students from different ethnic, different background and religious background come together to share their tradition, customs, and their experiences. The last one is high efficiency. So we implementing high efficiency must be done with greater responsibility in our education system, as allocating a significant budget is necessary to achieve student success and fulfill the goals of the national education system. Moving on to the next context, now I will explain about the 6 student aspiration on the national education system. The first point is knowledge. So the statement in this slide emphasizes the importance of students acquiring a solid foundation of knowledge, including literacy and numeracy skills, because it is very essential for personal, for national development, and also societal. So the curriculum is enhanced through student-centered teaching, diverse instruction methods, problem solving, and project-based learning, aiming to strengthen subjects and incorporate formative assessment. Next one is thinking skills. Thinking skills is very important. Students nowadays need critical thinking skills to compete globally, enabling them to acquire, develop, and apply knowledge effectively. So, creative and innovative thinking connects diverse knowledge and foster new ideas, crucial in knowledge-based economy. So, the education system nowadays prioritize the 21st century learning approach, which enhancing the students to be motivated and thinking capabilities. Students critically evaluate information sources, discerning between reliable and biased sources, and identifying key arguments and evidence to support their conclusion and also their lessons. Okay, the third point is spirituality. Why spirituality is important? Because spirituality involves strong religious beliefs and upholding moral standards, while integrity is the courage to do what is right. While civic responsibility entails acting for the common good and contributing to society. So this foundation shapes students' intellect and character in order to foster a high moral conduct. Okay. The fourth one is leadership skills. Leadership involves fostering entrepreneurship, resilience, emotional intelligence, and also communication skills in students. So entrepreneurship encourages creativity and seizing opportunities. So resilience helps students to overcome obstacles and challenges in their life, while emotional intelligence fosters empathy and also our understanding as a student. The next point is bilingual skills. So one might ask that why bilingual skills nowadays is very vital. Okay, let me explain. So in today's interconnected world, bilingual skills are highly valued in the job market. So proficiency in multiple languages opens up a wide range of career opportunities in international business, diplomacy, tourism, translation, and other fields where multilingual are essential. Last but not least is national identity. So why national identity nowadays is very important as a student. So national identity fosters a sense of belonging and cohesion among citizens, providing a common bond that transcends regional, ethnic, and religious differences.
Moving on to the seventh shift of the Malaysian Education Development Plan. So, this seventh shift focuses on improving or maximizing the usage of ICT to enhance the learning in our country. The first step is to actually increase the accessibility to internet and also create a virtual learning environment for all 10,000 schools available in Malaysia. For some students, fraud VLE plays an important role in them in terms of practicing or preparing them to be more knowledgeable in ICT. And which is why I think the implementation of fraud VLE or One Bestarinet was actually a good move done by the government of our country. The second thing that was done in order to actually implement the seventh shift was to actually create a library that collects all the videos made by the best teachers around the country. So what it's done by the government is that they have made this one platform where all teachers can actually collaborate with each other and create videos of them teaching the subjects, especially the important subjects such as English, Math, Science, Malay language. So this can actually be beneficial to the students in terms of they can actually use these videos as a revision. So the third one is by implementing or enhancing the use of ICT for self-paced learners or learners that are struggled in terms of distance, to actually attend the institution. So by practicing this, they will be able to actually attain knowledge no matter where they are, no matter what time it is, because everything is at the tip of our finger. By easing the struggles that faced by them, they can actually achieve the maximum capability of themselves. Moving on to the first issue that can be found, and the first issue is COVID-19. So I'm pretty sure we're all familiar of the term COVID-19. It is such an infamous virus that everyone, I'm sure, even when you ask a child that is below the age of 5, they would still know what COVID-19 is because it's very well known. It has left various impacts in terms of economy and especially education. So our country was one of the countries that had no choice but to actually alter the style of teaching and learning to cater towards what needed to be done in fighting against the COVID-19 virus. So the government of our country has tried to find many solutions to actually make sure that this virus was in control. And safe to say, they have done a very good job. So what they did is that they implemented the movement control order, and once this has been implemented, obviously we were not allowed to get out of the house or attend school or even go to work. So what happens to the students or the teachers? So the students and the teachers, they were forced to actually stay at their own house and to use the help of technology or gadgets to obtain education. So as for the teachers, they actually have to change the way of their teachings. So they have to make sure that they were able to adapt with the constant changes of time and the constant introduction of new online platforms. So these new online platforms such as Google Meet, Google Docs, Zoom, Skype, they were all very useful for them to actually provide education for their students. So this issue that we have to focus on is that it is a very highly contagious virus. It can affect one person to another through the aerosol or droplets of water. And what we have to know about this virus is that it was very dangerous. It is still very dangerous because it has led to a lot of deaths in our country. Not only our country though, globally. So in this slide, you can see the statistic of the deaths that were caused by COVID-19 in our country, starting from when the MCO was implemented, which was in March 2020, to the recent day that is in 2021. Moving on to the second issue, that is inflation. What is inflation? It's a phenomenon where the prices of goods increases drastically because the wants of these goods are higher than what was able to be produced. So they did not meet the demand or the number of expectation needed for certain products, or especially basic goods needed to actually undergo our daily life. Can cause through various factors, and one of it is the disruption of the chain of the production by the government. But in this case, inflation, it is caused by the COVID-19. We're trying to link from the second issue to the first issue. So because of COVID-19, our country struggled with inflation. Why do I say this? Because when COVID-19 happened, the government implemented movement control order that disrupted the production chain of these goods. So what happened is that a lot of factory workers or factories in general, they were not allowed to actually continue working, and when they were not able to continue working, they faced challenges in producing these goods. And when they face challenges in producing this good, obviously us, the citizens of Malaysia, we struggle with obtaining these items. And this also lead to some irresponsible parties that took advantage of the situation.
Next, I will be talking about the effects of COVID-19 to our education system. As we all know, the COVID-19 happened during 2020, and during the pandemic, it has taken a lot of impact in our society, especially in our personal lives and daily lives. What happened during the pandemic on our education system is that the most noticeable effect that we can see from the COVID-19 impact is the closure of schools in our country. So when the pandemic first happened in our country, the government has taken the initiative to close all schools in order to decrease the cases of COVID-19 and make the students and teachers stay at home. So because of the closure of schools, the teaching and learning process have been forced to move to online classes. While online classes have a lot of benefits, also had a lot of consequences behind the online classes, because first, it causes a student willingness to acquire knowledge to be at a low level, in addition to providing a less effective learning environment. Because students were staying at home and not learning physically in school, they may feel lazy, and they may feel like they can skip class whenever they want because it's online and you can do whatever you want online. Also, students may lose focus and concentration while studying because they do not understand the content that their teachers are teaching. So, for example, when you are learning in school, if you don't understand a subject or if you don't understand a topic, you can just go to your teacher and ask them directly. But now that it has moved to online classes, you have to give a text to your teacher, or you have to call them, and sometimes the teacher also have their own personal life besides teaching. So sometimes the teacher cannot provide the enough information for the students, making the students not gaining a lot of information about the subject that they are learning. This will affect, because of this online classes, it will affect the academic performance and dropout in learning. And because of this, it has also been against the aspiration of the educational system, in which they want to produce students who are knowledgeable in all aspects and improve thinking skills. It is clear that because of COVID-19, it has taken a lot of impact and it has taken a toll in our education system. Another issue that has taken a toll on our education system is inflation. So here, I will be talking about the effects of inflation to our education system. So the increase of inflation will cause the delay of school development projects, as my friend has explained before, inflation is a phenomenon where the price of goods increase suddenly in an economy. So because of inflation, it can cause an increase in the price of building materials, which can result in an increase in project costs. Because of the high prices of the building materials and the project costs, it will cause a delay in the development of school infrastructure. And because there has been a delay in the school infrastructure, the students may not be able to use the school facilities to its full potential. For some schools in the rural areas, they do not have enough classrooms, or sometimes they do not even have the facilities like a computer lab or a science lab, which make their learning process a little bit behind compared to the schools in the city area. Because of the delay, efforts to improve school facilities may be disrupted, which can cause a long-term negative impact on the progress of the education system of the education in this country. Because of this, it is very clear that because of inflation, it has a lot of impact on our education system, not only to the students but also to the teachers, because sometimes they need to spend more money on the students' materials because of the high prices.
Okay, now let us talk what we can improve for our PPPM in the future. So the first point is providing technological facilities to all students. So the government can provide some money to supply students with devices for those in need, and may also offer internet data plans to all students irrespective of their financial status, in order to facilitate seamless remote learning. So the provision of technological resources not only facilitates students but also make it easier for teachers to impart the knowledge to all students. Okay, so an example that we can take a look is the OLPC program. So what is OLPC program? So OLPC program is one laptop per child programs where the government have implemented initiative like OLPC, and they have distributed the low-cost laptops or tablets to students in school to enhance their learning experience and access to educational resources no matter what condition. So they will get the same opportunity to get the knowledge. Okay, the next example that we can take a look is the free internet access programs. So the governments may collaborate with telecommunication companies such as YES companies to provide free or subsidized internet access to students. So this ensures that students, regardless of their socioeconomic background or status, can access online educational materials in anytime, anywhere, and participate in remote learning.
First and foremost, the government can help those who are in need, or those who are living in the rural areas by giving subsidies and cash assistance to them to help alleviate the high rising cost of living nowadays. Because of inflation, prices of goods have increased, and it has taken a toll on those who are in need and those who are poor, because they do not have the money to afford the basic things anymore. And because they cannot afford the basic things, they may need to cut some expenses, and sometimes they also need to cut the education expenses to their children, which makes the children cannot the children are not able to have access to the education. So by giving subsidies and cash assistance to the poor and to those in need, it will help alleviate the high cost of living. So for example, the Payung Rahmah initiative provides targeted subsidies and cash aid to vulnerable to vulnerable groups to purchase essential goods, aimed at alleviating the burden of high living costs, according to Hidayat Hisham 2023. Another way the government can do in order to overcome the cost of COVID-19 and inflation is that the government can allocate funds for the development of school infrastructure. Because of inflation, prices have increased, and sometimes the building materials and the project cost for school infrastructure has been delayed because of inflation. So by providing sufficient funds to the school can finally continue their projects on developing the school infrastructure and making the school more beautiful for the students, for them to learn, and the students can feel more comfortable in learning, and they can finally use the facilities suitable to their needs, like the computer lab or the science lab, so on.